All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Falcon Punchcast. As always, it is I, Mr.FalconPunch, aka Shaheen. And as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Darth Messiah, aka Hamza.
Hello, I am the. Oh fuck. Um. Trying to shit. I forgot I needed to do this. I am the. I am the. I am the Genos to Shaheen's One Punch Man. There we go. That.
Okay.
I
Nice.
really,
Nice
I
save.
really screwed myself with this.
See, I was going down a checklist of things to do before I clicked record, and that was like the one thing I forgot to make sure if you had a duo.
Yeah, I don't know why I put this stipulation. I gotta make a list. Okay, yeah, just keep.
Yeah, you really got to make like a Word doc just full of like famous duos.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, got it. Yeah. At least this one's relevant to
Yeah.
the
So
talk.
right. So in case you guys haven't been keeping up to date with the Punchcast recently, we've been going through our favorite animes and mangas. We did the anime one a few podcasts back. That one we got both of our favorites in, but then for manga, we, at least on my end, I tended to talk a lot about my favorite manga, and I really filled up a whole podcast with that. So we had to split up our favorites.
Yeah.
So last time we had all my favorites, like my top 10 favorite manga. So this time we're going to Hamza'S top 10. And then you guys can compare our tastes in the comments.
Yeah, the reason why the manga videos were longer, and we had to split them basically into two parts, is because we have refined taste. We're manga readers. We're better than anime watchers, right? And Shaheen approves this message. What I'm saying right now.
Yeah, we just have bigger brains than you anime.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
fans,
resist.
You know?
You were gonna resist. Like,
I was like, oh, you need an animator to like show you the story? Nah, man, I use my imagination to fill in the blanks between that.
And you get to the story faster. The art is sometimes better. So yeah, like, okay. So yeah, like that's that. I mean, we can get into those conversations once we go through my list because I got some shit to say. yeah. Trust me, when we get to spoiler alert, Berserk's on the list. When we get there, I have some bombshells to drop on you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you get started?
Okay. So we're gonna start with my list. So just a disclaimer: this list was not made until we had to essentially make this podcast. I had I think 3 on them. I had Real Life, Berserk, and Vinland Saga, and I think maybe Dragon Ball on it as well. But those 4, I'm pretty confident in. The rest I kind of had to fill in because, listen, man, most mangas I'm reading are ongoing, and I didn't feel like putting them on until they were completed, or I was 100% sure, oh yeah, this is my favorite. So take this list again with a grain of salt. I've realized that I haven't read as much manga as I thought I did. Shaheen was also thrown for a loop because he was even in the same position. He's oh, Hamza's read so much manga, he will have a top 10 easily. Yes, but apparently I didn't. I think I've read more comics than I have manga. So that's something I have to wrestle with now.
I'm a fake fan.
I'm a fake fan. Yeah, because I always, for the longest time, thought of myself as a manga reader first, comic book reader second. But now I guess I have to flip the two. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I guess to your benefit, for the most part with comics, I mean, I guess it's quicker to go through.
Maybe
runs or series.
Yeah, also, it multiplies very quickly, especially for following DC and Marvel. So, titles just get thrown at you. It kind of feels like a lot of time. Whereas manga, it's yeah, you only got the one. You got to worry about the one. Then you gotta look for the rest. So yeah. But anyways, we're gonna start with a sports manga, Haikyuu. This is one of the few manga that I read beginning to end, completed. I haven't even touched the anime, to be honest. And
oh wow,
yeah, I haven't touched the anime at all. To the annoyance of one friend that I have, yeah, who's really into Haikyuu. But I really really enjoyed this manga. The art does take a little bit of getting used to, but it has I mean, it's as a term I've learned from another podcast, Manga Explaining. It is an explainer manga. I knew jack shit about volleyball before this series. I did not know the rules. I did not know, it's like these are the advantages and disadvantages of like player like body types. I did not know like, oh, this is like the techniques that go into it. This is what separates like a good player from a bad player. Like it really fully immerses you and really like makes you appreciate like, oh my god, like volleyball is like a really fun, amazing sport. I never played it myself other than like random PE classes, but like the journey that you go through with the characters, the again, self-improvement, and that's like a staple of like every sports manga. But like, I mean, if you want to see it executed to like near perfection, like Haikyuu is like there. The volleyball matches are intense, and one thing I love about sports series, which I did mention, I think, in the previous podcast, but I'm gonna mention it again, is that in battles shown in manga, when you've got two opponents, or the main characters versus their opponents, right? Or not necessarily the bad guys, just whoever they're fighting with, the outcome is like pretty clear that like the main character or the good guys, they're gonna win, right? Like it's their story, and even if they lose, they'll come back and eventually beat them, right? Like even if they have a loss, they'll get a win eventually. But in sports series, at least from the two I've noticed, Ace of Diamond and Haikyuu, losses are a thing they have to deal with. Like just because they've reached the final or the semifinal or the quarterfinal, whatever, like you think like, oh, they're gonna go all the way and win the trophy. No, they could get knocked out. Like there is no guarantee. So there's like a really high amount of tension in these sports matches because like their series have shown that like there is no guarantee. Even like in this, like when you feel like you're kind of like in the final arc, like okay, they gotta win the tournament now. Uh, Again, not necessarily that they will. So it's like you really got to be on your toes, and like you get like I get really like on the edge of my seat stuff, and that's like what's really cool about sports series. It is, I think, like if you want like tournament arc and like battle shown in tension perfection, like yeah, grab a sports series. It will not be disappointed. Any of them. I don't know. Again, my impression of sports comes from Ace of Diamond and Haikyuu. I haven't really consumed any other sports series, but I imagine the rest will have a similar vibe.
All right, yeah. I mean, I haven't had that much experience with Haikyuu. I did watch like the first couple episodes of the anime because I feel like I bring it up every podcast. That I swear, if we had a bingo card, I watched this in my anime club. We watched probably the first 2 or 3 episodes, and I did enjoy it. And we mainly watched like the first 3 episodes because normally we just watched like one episode of a series, but because a good portion, not good portion, but like 3 members were in the volleyball team, they're like, you guys gotta watch Haikyuu. It's like the best thing ever. So I'm like, okay, we'll just keep on watching.
Ah, right.
And I did like it, but then I just never followed up with it because I had my own backlog of stuff I was watching, like the actual stuff I was watching and seasonal stuff. And then at that time, that's what, like when I just got into Tokusatsu, I'm like, I don't have time for Haikyuu.
Yeah.
Also, a little bittersweet about it was mainly I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get into it because this girl I liked was into it, but then things didn't go so well between us, and I'm like, it hurts.
Oh, okay. But look,
so I never got back to it since. But eventually, maybe.
Yeah. For me, I don't know why I decided to do it. I think maybe because again, that one friend that I have who's like a hardcore fan, like he literally sent me a screenshot of the ticket for the dumpster battle movie that's out right now as of this recording, and stuff. So like he was really into it, and he pushed me for it, and we were talking about it like almost every day, and like he even started asking me questions like, hey, what were your dream team with all the characters, like stuff I never thought about. It's like I don't know, man. Yeah, but I gotta say, like,
right.
If you're one of those people that are like, oh, manga endings suck, manga endings never live up to the hype, this one did. This one I think had picture perfect ending. Like I could not, and it's a surprising ending as well because they do a time jump at the very end. Like,
no,
yeah,
okay.
at the very, very end. It's like they literally like skip years. I thought it's like, oh, we're gonna see their journey from like year 1 of high school to the very last year. Oh no, there's a time jump. You don't see all of it. You only see like the first year or 2 years. I can't remember. So like,
okay.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting series. I highly recommend it if you want good character work, good self-improvement messages, if we're into sports, I want to learn about a new sport. Again, like I said, I knew jack shit about volleyball. Now I actually want to follow the sport. Unfortunately, it's not that popular. It doesn't have like an NBA or an MLB or an NFL to it. I think it's like a bit more complicated than that. But like, yeah, it was a really nice pleasure to read, beginning to end. So I really do recommend it. If you're looking for a sports series to start with, yeah, this is like probably the most optimal start, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, I've heard plenty of great things about it. I remember when it was still ongoing on Jump, people were always talking about it and hyping it up. And, when it ended, there was a lot of people like really sad to see it go. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Jump has usually had plenty of great sports series, which is kind of sad nowadays because every time there's a new sports series, it just winds up getting axed.
Really? Because this had the slam dunk effect where it whatever double, triple the popularity of volleyball in Japan. I'm pretty sure around the world, but like obviously Japan was highly affected. So
I know I always love that when a sports series is like it got so popular, it just increased the popularity of the fucking sport.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. I was from the magazine that gave you Slam Dunk, Haikyuu. I mean, Kuroko Basket didn't have the same level of fame as Slam Dunk or what I call critic acclaim, but it's still fairly popular.
It was very popular at the time it came out.
So it's
and then was Ice Shield 21
Yes,
Jump?
Ice Shield 21 was
Jump.
Different?
Yeah. So that was
Prince
another
of Tennis
one
too. There's a lot of sports series that Shonen Jump can has under its belt. So it's kind of weird now that we're in this era where if a sports series comes out, it's tough going. Which I don't know, maybe is a sign of things shifting, or I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I haven't read any of those sports series. There was a couple I read that were martial arts based. There's something Naru, and then another one that was about MMA from the guy that did the sumo jump series. Both of those got axed. And then there was I think we've had 2 golfing manga. There was
which surprised
something laser beam and then green.
Robot X laser beam, and then the green greens are happening right now, or it's canceled.
I think it's going to be canceled soon, or it's already been canceled. Right. I'm not too sure. And I think there's also a figure skating one.
Oh.
I don't recall seeing any updates on it recently because I read Jump every Sunday. Because there was a point where I'm maybe I'm just going to read everything on Jump, and then I'm there's a couple series I'm way too far behind on. It's 300 chapters for me to get caught up with it. And then I'll always I'll browse a new series, and if I'm if something hooks me, then I'll read it. But I read a good bit of Jump, but I feel we're due for another hit sports series. I feel it's been a while.
It has to be a sport that people don't pay much attention to. Obviously we don't pay attention to golf, but golf is still pretty popular. It has a lot of money in it. It has spotlight is the better term. A sport that doesn't have a lot of spotlight on it, because golf does, basketball at that time didn't as much, volleyball definitely didn't. So I think it has to be a sport that people are oh, I know it exists, but I've never once watched a second of it. Maybe this manga can explain it to me. And if you got good characters, good tense matches, then it might just draw people in. Yeah.
We need the anime pickleball.
I didn't think about that. Oh my god, yeah.
Actually, wait, shoot. I was just talking about sports series. I just remember Blue Box is technically a sports series. In my head, it's a romance series, but it is technically sports because I think one guy.
Is that the Jazz one, or is that the?
No. That's Blue Giant.
Oh, that's Blue Giant. There's also Blue Period, which is the art one.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of blue something, and it's about a hobby.
Blue Lock is about
Blue
soccer.
Box. Shit! Wow.
When there are something blue something, I'm which blue are we talking about?
Okay, so Blue Box is a Shonen Jump series, but it's a romantic sports series, and I haven't read it yet. I've just heard things about it, so I might get this a bit mixed up. But one of them is into tennis. Or racquetball or something like that. And the other is into basketball. and they form some kind of romantic relationship.
Ah.
I've heard great things about it. I just remember back in the day reading it, or like I didn't read it, I just saw it, and I'm like, oh, rom-com sports series. We'll see how well this doesn't jump. And it wound up doing really well. So I was in the wrong from that one. I could have been on board with that hype train. But I think an anime is coming out either this year or next year.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'll probably watch the anime, and then depending how the anime goes, I might hop into the manga or just wait for the anime, depending how good the adaptation is. I don't remember if
it was Jump or maybe another magazine I'm mixing up with, but there is ice hockey manga that's out right now that I've heard good things about.
It's on the Jump app. I don't think it is a Jump manga, or at least weekly Shonen Jump manga. I think that one, the one you're talking about, is from the creator of Golden Kamuy.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Dog's Red or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. So, because, like, again, I'm in Canada. It's like a one nation sport, hockey. Like, everybody lives and dies on hockey here. So it's like, but I'm having trouble getting into it. So I'm like, I don't know, like, maybe I need a manga to get me into it. It's like, what got
I need that manga to fill my Canadian spirit.
Yeah, it's like, because, like, I don't know, like, manga is such a good. I mean, it really. I mean, I've said this to Shaheen, but it really surprised me that, like, you know, America, being such a sports mad country, has never produced not even one comic I can name that, like, gets close to a sports manga that, like, gets into that type of detail and character drama and character development, and, like, you know, their action scenes are basically the matches, like those 10. They're not even like a live action TV show. I don't think I can name.
I can't really think of, like, sports comics.
I can think sports movies, but, like, again, like,
that is an untapped market here, because I'm pretty sure someone did if you got a popular writer artist team that everyone loves, and they did, like, I don't know, an American football or baseball comic series that was really inspirational and everything, probably be a hit.
Yeah. So it's really weird that, like, the comic book industry and stuff, but, like, like, at least manga's filling that space. So moving on, next we have one that I have watched, like, both the anime and the manga, but I'm behind on both. I'm like 2 seasons behind on the anime, and manga, I don't remember where I ended up. I know which, like, chapter I ended up. I know which part of the story I stopped at, what I last remember. But beyond that, I don't. But I'll have to probably start from the beginning again with this.
Oh, gosh. See, and I remember this directly because Hero Academia, of course.
Yeah, but that's the
nowadays people
kind of. I didn't even say the name of the.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Spoiler my I'm looking at his list right now, so I have it all laid out for me, so I know the order. But yeah, so we're talking about Hero Academia. I remember when I started the anime club. Sorry to keep on bringing that up every episode. Those are the good old days for me. Life has not gotten better since. Anime club days. Hero Academia was popular. I think we've talked about this. I had a couple members that just kept on rewatching Hero Academia rather than watching anything new. God. And then we did have a day where we watched the entire first season. We marathoned it. So a lot of them were into Hero Academia, but I think after, like, season 3, they kind of dissipated. I think after that, I'm not even sure if it was season 3. It was either season 3 or 4 where they have, like, the music festival or school festival arc.
A lot of people didn't like that. Yeah.
I feel like not even just my anime club. A lot of people dipped out of Hero Academia after that, but I held on. Yeah. And I was rewarded because, like, the arcs after are really good, but I had no one to talk to. And then you kind of got caught up, and I'm like, yes. And then you stopped being caught up. I'm like, fuck.
It was the music festival arc, and before that, it was the gentleman guy. I forgot his name.
It was just gentle.
Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. So a lot of people were confused at that because they're like, we went from the League of Villains to this? Like, what? Not the League of Villains. That's not. It is, right? League of Villains?
No. It was like that Yakuza guy. I forgot his name.
Oh, right. The one with the mask. I forgot. Yeah, like the.
Right. I forgot his name.
Black Plague mask.
It was that arc.
No, but, like, it's, like, still, like, we went from, that such, like, mighty villains to this, so that confused a lot of people. I didn't mind it because, like, I felt like, again, like, maybe this is the superhero fan in me, I'm like, oh, they're doing the thing where it's like you had one big arc, one small arc, then you're gonna have a big arc again, then a small arc again. Also, this is still technically in a school, and so they're still teenagers, so they're still gonna do like teenager things. Like even X-Men, like after a big arc was done, you would have like, a baseball, you know, comic with like one issue or two issues or whatever. So it's like kind of like that. So like I didn't have a problem with it. I knew that like Hirokoshi, the mangaka, was like tapping into that. So like yeah, I don't know. I hope they bounced back into it, but I've heard a lot of hate around Hero Academia, which is weird. I don't understand it. Like even like that friend who's like really into Haikyuu, he's disappointed by Hero Academia as well. Like,
I mean, there's some valid criticisms to be had with it. Even I have my criticisms of it.
Yeah, same. It's not a perfect.
Some
series.
of it for you, yeah. It's not perfect, but of course, people online will always turn on something. Once something reaches that popularity point, there's like people that come out of the woodwork and be like, it always sucked and it was never good. It is mid. I pronounce it as mid. Hero Mid-Damia.
Oh god, jeez.
It's not all might. It's all mid.
Oh, that's the one. That's a good pun at least.
That one was on the spot.
But like yeah, it's still like a really fun series. Again, it's not gonna. The setting is unique because like most battles shonen they have to come up with like a very unique fantastical setting, but this one is very much like, oh, we're in an like a American superhero setting. I just realized I have two superhero manga on this. That's now just like I've just realized that right now. But anyways, we'll get to the other one later. But like yeah, maybe I am a comic book reader first. God damn.
It seeped into your manga. I mean, technically, mine had a couple superhero series, but
like, anyways, yeah, like Hero Academia, I really like, especially considering like coming from X-Men to this, it was really fascinating to see like, oh, this is a world where like mutants aren't a problem. In fact, they're accepted. In fact, that the dominant species, I guess, I don't know what the exact term, the dominant people, dominant group, in this world.
Homo superior.
Superior. Yeah, and then like obviously the arcs, the action. I actually like Deku a lot as a character. Like I really love his journey. I know people find him like annoying and whiny, but I'm like I accept it because like well, I mean that's the story. Like he has to go through like shit as a weakling to then eventually get to the like be the best superhero ever, as the narrations say. I was really and so like I enjoyed his journey. I loved the characters, loved the artwork of Hirokoshi, and like yeah, he's built a universe out of this. Like vigilantes, there's the team up missions, like spin off as well. I don't know what he's going to do after this. If it's going to be
have a good.
Yeah, have a good after the rest when he gets that hunger again as an artist to like make a new series.
Personally, I want him to do like a horror tinge series because when he wants to do something horrific, and then he's done, I guess, like some Devilman fan art, and it looked really good. And then even in Hero Academia, there's like the Nomu, or eventually later on, like scenes with Shigaraki are pretty terrifying.
Yeah, I could see that. And like, dude is like, I mean, the amount of love in this for like Western comic books and like, like Marvel and DC superheroes, and like, dude, All Might as a character and design, like perfection. Like, in fact, like a lot of people like, because All Might gets compared to Superman a lot of the time, and like, yeah, I can see that, but like, someone made a very good point that like, All Might's more Captain America than Superman. And I'm like, yeah, he like all of his like moves are named after like states in the US. His big move is United States of Smash. He was in America for a time, in his like history. So it's like, yeah, he is more, I would say, Captain America than Superman, in my opinion. I agree to that.
Yeah, he's like a nice kind of like amalgam of it.
True, but like yeah, like. And then, like, Deku. Bakugo I still hate. I don't get what the hype is around him.
Oh, same. Oh my god, thank God. Because we had a friend that's all like, Bakugo's the best. I'm like, I just kind of find him fucking annoying.
I know people were like, oh, he's just like an awkward kid. He doesn't know. I'm like, yeah, but he's like also like a menace.
They're all awkward kids.
He's also like a menace, though.
Yeah.
Also, like, yeah, like I know. Okay,
but he has like the coolest costume though. That's the thing that sucks. He's so cool.
Well, you sound like Deku now. Like, man, sound so cool. Oh yeah, you have a hot take on this that like I didn't realize until you mentioned it. I still think you're maybe being a bit too harsh, but like yeah, either way, like Shaheen thinks the most of the costumes suck in My Hero Academia.
Okay, I don't even think that's that hot of a take. Deku doesn't even properly wear his costume most of the time because the actual costume was ass. I think it was slightly a reference to his previous manga on Jump because Hiro Koshi had another series about like this zoo where at night all the animals would turn like anthro, and the main character was like a bunny man. So I think that's where that came from.
Yeah, but he never wears the mask. He always has like a dangling. Yeah.
It comes back when Deku gets edgy, and that looks really good. But yeah, most of the hero costumes are kind of whack. Like All Might looks good. Bakugo looks good. Some of the other characters, I mean, like Todoroki, it's not even a superhero costume. It's literally just whatever.
Just I looked it up. I'm like, no, he had a costume, and then I have to look it up. Like, oh no, Sheen's right. He doesn't. It's just a blue like onesie with like straps, and like that's pretty much it. Like it's
and then the tail guy, he just wears like a judo karate gi.
Just wears a gi. Like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then the electrical guy, just a leather jacket.
Yeah, like some of them are like not even costumes. It's just a guy. It's just a dude.
Yeah.
Like there's some good costumes, like the speed guy. I'm forgetting his name, but the guy that that has like the engines on his legs. Right. Like he has kind of a cool costume.
Yeah.
Most of the bigger heroes have good costumes. Like Endeavor looks really cool.
Dark, what do you call edgy guy who's like embarrassed to be that guy, the one with the shadow quirk, that shadow monster quirk.
Right.
He look. I mean, he's like picture perfect, like right there. All Might's costume is awesome. All of every iteration, like the Golden Age, Silver Age, whatever, like costumes are awesome. Yeah, Endeavor. I think the main like already established superheroes had good costumes, like Mount Lady. I think for the Eraserhead, knowing his personality, it works. Like it makes sense. Like oh yeah, he would have this like lazy ass costume.
Yeah, I guess for him it's all right. I don't know. It's just like a lot of them don't really feel like costumes. Even like that alien girl. She's just wearing really bright colors, and I always hate her pants. I don't know. Even though I think she's a fantastic design normally.
Yeah.
She also doesn't get used that much, so the fuck does it even matter anyway?
True.
No, then of course you have Mineta with his fucking diaper.
Yeah. Apparently Hirokoshi's favorite character, which is
oh, okay.
Yeah, or the one he relates to the most, apparently. Which
no.
Yeah, it was in the official English manga where it's like where he mentioned that. I think, or maybe I read on the internet. I don't remember, but I remember reading somewhere. But that was the one. Where oof, Lady Midnight, Mount Lady, beautiful women. God damn. But I really do hope. There's one thing I do hope from this is that I hope it people who are hesitant to get into Marvel, DC, comics. I really hope this hopefully had a crossover effect. Because again, I've always see comic book people go to manga, but I never hear the opposite. I very rarely do. So I really hope this if you're a My Hero Academia fan and you're hey, I want to see where this is coming from, what's the inspiration from it? Look, I got Shaheen on this bandwagon. All right.
Right. Yeah, I still need to make the video for it where I'm hoping to recreate that success.
And trust me, hopefully that video will explain it and get people in. But it's honestly is not as hard as people make it out to be, and there's ways to get around it. But and it was literally one of the best decisions I ever made to get into comics. I love the medium, and My Hero Academia is a perfect love letter to that genre concept, whatever. And I really. And we're having we're getting okay. So as they're recording this video, we're getting a Naruto TMNT crossover,
which is wild.
Which is why it's not a manga; it's a comic book. So like Naruto will be in comic book form. It's not like because we've seen Deadpool and Wolverine and all like a lot of Marvel characters in manga form. In fact, Deadpool and All Might crossover in the Deadpool Samurai manga. So I was expecting that. There's also I think an Attack on Titan and Avengers or Spider-Man crossover manga. But again, they're all like manga. So I'm used to seeing it in like manga form. But like, oh no, it's good. This is going the opposite way. It's going to Naruto is going to be in a comic book. So it started a conversation between me like, oh, who should like like what other crossovers should happen. So like, yeah, definitely like if My Hero Academia is gonna crossover, it has to be with the X-Men. Like it just has to. Like Xavier and Magneto would both like jizz at like the My Hero Academia universe. Like, oh my god, this is what we've always wanted. Like, yeah, I mean, she would love to see the interactions and stuff. And like, I don't know who the Avengers would cross over with. I'm trying to think. Because there's not a lot of other. I mean, we're going to get to it later, but there's like the One Punch Man universe. I guess like Superman and what do you call? One Punch Man would have an interesting conversation. Superman, like All Might, and Captain America and All Might would also have a very interesting conversation too. What were the ones we mentioned?
Right, there's
like Justice League and somebody I remember as well. We had like a crossover idea, but I can't remember what they were. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know we were like spitballing some things.
Yeah.
I've seen some people being like Devilman and Spawn.
Oh my! Would you hate that or love that?
I don't know. I'll definitely pick it up if it did happen. But I don't know. Spawn's gonna be a whiny bitch about it. I don't know.
Yeah, for the record, Shaheen hates Spawn.
I've tried 2 volumes of the comic, and I watched
you actually read
the animated series.
I didn't know. I thought you just would.
I read I actually own 2 volumes of the comic.
Oh my god! Why do you do that?
I bought them blind because I'm like, wow, this looks really cool. Bought the first volume. I'm like, I kind of like this, but maybe it gets better. And I did have a friend at the time that's like, Spawn's the best thing ever. This is my creative influence. So I'm like, okay, maybe it picks up. And I heard like Spawn, he kills God and the devil, and he becomes above them. I'm like, oh my god, just like Boston Kaiser. The power to go beyond God and kill the devil. He did it. And then I read the second volume. I'm like, all right, gonna get out of here.
And then the animated series didn't help you at all either.
I was more invested into like Sam and Twitch.
Sam and Twitch comic. That exists.
I guess, yeah, maybe. But I'm just like, how do you have the coolest design on the planet? Just produce that. I'm like, ooh. God bless you, McFarlane.
So that's My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia. Awesome series. I hope it sticks to landing with the ending, like all the epilogue chapters, and I can't wait to binge it all in volume form and then get caught up with the anime. I'm looking forward to that. That's like
it's definitely good. And then it feels good, even though like depending on how the final epilogue chapters, like there's definitely a bit I'm kind of was wishing for more of from Hero Academia, but it's kind of clear after the final arc, Hirokoshi was just kind of running on fumes. Like the art was fantastic. Like honestly, I think some of his best artwork was in the final arc, and occasionally some of the best artwork that was just coming out on Jump at the time. I'm not sure if that's like a hot take or not. But, it was like 15 chapters, 15 pages we were getting for chapters, sometimes 13, depending on how many double pages we were getting. But the art was great. But there's just a lot of story and character elements, and even just overall world building I really wanted to see from the manga that probably is not going to get resolved in like the remaining chapter or 2 we have left. But as someone that's followed Hirokoshi from the beginning, from that Zoo manga, forget the actual proper title for it, and then Barrage, which was another short-lived series he had on Jump, and then finally getting that home run with Hero Academia. It's pretty rewarding, seeing this little guy, especially how we see so many manga nowadays get axed on Jump. It's kind of refreshing to see that guy come back, 3 times, and finally on the 3rd time, he did the big series that was like the #1 manga and had all the anime adaptations and movies and touched the hearts of people all over the world.
Yeah, he did he had a lot of covers that were like he drew everybody else's characters, and and he also like I said, like this spawned like spin-offs. Like I don't think it's
Vigilante.
Yeah, I don't think
which is also really good.
Which is like rare, I think, for a Jump title to like have that many spin-offs like come out of it. Like even One Piece hasn't had that and stuff. So like I really do like the series. I do think it gets unnecessary amount of hate. I'm not saying like it's all like like haters or anything. Like
it's not.
There is genuine criticism. Even I have those, but I can't like really say anything. We're getting too much into spoilers. More than we already have, but it's not a perfect series, but I do think it's a damn good series. And if you're a superhero fan, you owe yourself. If you're a superhero fan who hates modern comics, this will like fit in like perfectly for you. It does exactly what you want. So yeah, but Boku no Hero Academia is one of my favorites right now. Again, we'll see. I do think this is a strong contender to stay on my favorites list, unless I don't know. I read the manga and I'm like, man, Horikoshi, you hack!
This ending sucks.
Yeah. But for now, it's as far as I read, I loved it all, so it's staying there. Next, now, okay, I promise this is not a meme pick. I genuinely think this manga that's coming up next that I'm going to talk about is genuinely very good. I will defend it if anybody like writes this off. Oh, it's just an ecchi manga. It doesn't like mean anything or do anything. Like no. This is this is an ecchi manga that genuinely I think people could learn from. And like genuinely, like it is ecchi, yeah. Which is surprising. We didn't have a lot of ecchi representation. I think in this like top 10 thing we've been doing.
I'm a respectable man.
But so it is Monster Musume. Like this manga has some of the best like imaginative world building I've seen. Like this guy thought of like everything. Like if this sort of creature existed, how would it function? How would it interact with the real world? What's its own society and culture like? And where did those two clash? And as a harem manga, it does something that I wish other harem series did. But like other harem series, they have a very like, either a stupidly dense protagonist where like, even if the woman were to like rip her clothes off and like jump on him, he would still be like, "What is my friend doing?"
You're going to get cold.
You're going to get cold or something. Yeah. Or they're like, they just have like one thing about them that makes them really popular, and then like for some reason every girl is like fully in on that. This one, I feel like the main character is genuinely like a good guy. Like he's trying his best, he's responsible, and he actually like is aware of what's going on. He's aware of the feelings these characters, the harem has for him, and they actually do address it. And there's an actually reason why he's not hooking up. Because that's my number one thing. It's like once the harem is established, what's stopping the guy from just sleeping with all of them, or at least one of them? I don't know. Like if you don't want to go with that, like pick one of them already. Like. And this one is actually a genuine story reason is because there's a law that stops like humans and monster people from like, sleeping together. So it's like, oh, there's a genuine reason why he like has to be careful in like not, getting romantically involved with them. So there's like there's actual like proper reasoning for this, and like the characters are awesome. I love all of them. Although Mia, which is the snake. The Lamia, which is like half woman, half snake, is still probably my favorite. I would say. I know a lot of people love the Spider Lady. Arachnia, I think that's her name. But I think Mia is still, I would say, my favorite monster girl in this. But this book is genuinely good. Like it is a genuinely fun, entertaining read. If you're like genuinely like very detailed, awesome world building and awesome characters, and like actually gives proper reasoning as to why the harem exists. They address the harem that like this guy has to make a decision at some point, and actual storytelling reasoning as to why he can't just like just rip the band-aid off and sleep with all of the girls. So like this is like probably maybe a hot take, best ecchi series ever. Best Monster Girl series, definitely ever. Maybe best ecchi series ever. I don't know.
I'm not sure about ecchi.
Best harem series
that
ever.
might
I
be...
think that can confidently say it's the best harem series ever. Love Hina fans are going to come after me,
harem.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't even love Hina. I feel like there's a bunch of other harems these days that people might still come after you.
Quintessential quintuplets. Those guys.
Maybe like that, or like what was it, like the 1,000 girls that really, really love you, or whatever that one was called.
Oh, right. Okay, maybe.
I feel like with harems and ecchi, there's definitely a couple contenders that people might come after you for. Monster Girls, maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think this was like the first Monster Girl series, but I feel it's like what definitely kicked off like the wave, because I remember after this anime came, like the anime for it came out, like a whole bunch of others started getting more traction. But I don't know, maybe that's just my English speaking senses, because I don't know, maybe in Japan this has been more of a thing.
Yeah, I think in Japan it's more of a thing, but I think in the Western North American market it wasn't until Monster Musume came out, and then I think companies realized, oh, there's a market for this. Let's get as many monster girls.
And then for a while, like 7 Seas made it its whole identity before moving on.
Yeah.
Because I remember they grabbed Monster Musume, and then it's just like, anything with a monster girl, we're just going to grab it. You know, Daily Life is Centaur, Cyclops Nurse, and like a bunch of others. It's like, yeah, it's all ours, baby.
Yeah, Centaur one I heard was boring. Like, it's doesn't really do much with the concept.
That one's a lot deeper with its world building.
Oh, really?
Which was kind of entertaining. Oh yeah, there's like a whole bunch of lore with the backstory of the world, how certain races came to being, and how they had wars with each other at one point. You also get to see how a centaur puts on pants. Because how would they?
Yeah.
So, which I don't think Monster Musume tackles.
Yeah, because like
it does also
like,
have,
they're knights, so they wear like these like skirts and stuff. So like it doesn't really get addressed in Monster Musume, because like because centaurs are a very specific thing in Monster Musume. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the centaur girl was like my best girl when I was reading. It's been a while. Okay. And it's not just because she has the biggest tits. I want to make that extremely clear. It's not because of that. I genuinely, and I don't even mean this as a meme, I genuinely like her personality. That's all.
Yeah, she's like the classic, like clearly
honorable knight,
but like kind of fucks up along the way. She has a lot of similarities with Darkness, now that I think about it, anyway. But she's not as as Darkness is. Yeah,
right.
But like her plastic sword, and then So I am in the middle of rereading this. Actually, I've got into like volume. Hold on, let me see. Volume 8 or 9 or something. I think there's like 16 total, if I'm not mistaken. But like, yeah, I'm in the middle of rereading this, and I forgot. Like, man, this is like a really. Like, genuinely, it's a good manga. Like, I know it's like a meme, but it's like genuinely good storytelling. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, like it is good. This used to be on my top 10 too. I remember when I first came across the series when it had like 5 chapters online. Yeah. But on top, like besides the ecchi, you have interesting, like the way it approaches these monster girls. Because the guy, basically the whole plot is this guy lives with a monster girl, because in this world, monsters and humans kind of interact with each other, but there's some restrictions of what they could do with each other. And there's like an interspecies kind of like exchange program in which a monster girl, because this is an ecchi series, so of course it's going to be girls. So we're going to focus on monster dudes.
I don't think they even. No, they do touch on like centaur men, but I think that's it.
Yeah, they're ugly as hell.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with a lot of monster girl manga. Yeah. It's mostly just the girls. That guys are like, that's some just ugly fucking monster. We just want the women. Which is why they're so interested in the humans, because they look way more attractive than the males of our society. Anyways, so basically this guy's house is, anytime a new girl gets introduced to his house has to get completely renovated by the government in the series for reasons. So like, he has to have like an extra wide tub for the snake girl because of course, but it has to be a certain temperature because if it goes too low, it'll freeze her because she's cold-blooded because she's a snake. So there's a lot of like attention to detail that you kind of wouldn't expect. Like, a normal ecchi series, you're not going to get all this attention to detail to like everyone's sort of needs because they're all human. But with this one, it's like, yeah, no, I have a slime, I have a centaur, I have an arachnid person, I have a mermaid. They all require different things for survival. So that's kind of interesting as someone that likes monsters and that sort of creativity. It always kind of, tickled my fancy on top of monster titty.
Yeah.
And it's also a genuinely funny manga. There's a lot of funny moments in it.
Yeah, genuinely really funny, and like that, just like I said, like like this the centaur lady's going on with the sword, and turns out it's just a plastic sword. Then you've got the government agent that's assigned to him, who's just a lazy, just lazy, wants to do the bare minimum. All the characters are great, and then like they really do develop a camaraderie with each other, like genuine friendships. There's obviously rivalries and stuff, but still, like really cool, and like they expand. Like we get to see like each girl's like society and culture is different, and that like informs their character. And you actually go see like because like I can't wait till I get to the arc in my reread where they go to like Mia, who's the Lamia, the half snake girl, like her society and stuff. So like yeah.
Right.
So it's really really awesome. I do like beyond the memes. Like this is a genuinely good. Like yes, it is titillating, literally. Uh, but it is a genuinely good, funny story and like a good like rom-com story. To be honest, yeah. So sticking with the oh, yeah, I've got something more to say, or
again, it used to be in my top 10. I haven't read it in a while. I need to reread it at some point. Main reason why I fell off is because the mangaka, due to health reasons, had to go on hiatus. So chapters just weren't releasing, so I kind of forgot about it. And then I just, obviously I kept on reading other series. So I definitely need to go back and reread it. I think I was just checking in with the series. I'm like, oh, I wonder how it's doing now. And I clicked on a random newer chapter, and they were like talking to a mummy, and they were just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And at the time, I was getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like, all right, it's calling to me. This manga still knows what I want.
Jeez. Yeah, so yeah, like again, like I think you've heard us praise enough. Like, yeah, Monster Musume, don't just toss it to the side. It's just another ecchi harem series. Like, no, this genuinely is like interesting to read.
It's not just for the goons.
Just for the goons. No. It's for the reader. Yeah. That sounded so cringe. Oh, God. But anyway, sticking with the
monster fuckers,
Oh God. So sticking with the creature theme, this next manga. Okay, this I'll admit, this might be premature, but I do. Okay, I'm gonna go on a rant with this. Right? There's not enough, in my opinion, dinosaur content in the world. Especially in comic book form, right? Like long running dinosaur series that's like where dinosaurs are a major player. Like I can name like 3 titles on my hand. So when I heard this manga was coming out and it's like licensed in English, there's only 4 volumes in English out. I think there's like maybe 7 or 8 in Japanese. I'm not sure. Could be 10 by now, by the time this podcast comes out. But this manga is what again, Hollywood just like fucks it up, like, and like manga showing that, oh, this is what the story should have been. I'm talking about Jurassic Park, because like the Jurassic Park series, like, it's one of those franchises that, yeah, I follow, and I'll probably follow blindly, because like, I mean, what other dinosaur shit is there to me to follow? But like, most of the movies are not great, and when this manga came out and the direction it goes in, I was like, oh my god, this is what Jurassic World should have been, or this is the direction it should have taken. Granted, Jurassic World has always leaned like action horror, but like, if they would have taken the risk and been like, no, let's actually just like do what this manga did, I think it would have been like a awesome success. This manga is picking up steam, and if there's one thing this podcast does, I really hope it increases the popularity of this manga. It is called Dinosaur Sanctuary, or the Japanese name Dino-san. I really want this manga to like keep going. I wanted to get like, I don't know, 50 volumes, 100 volumes. Probably won't. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of pushing.
yeah. But like, it literally is about zookeepers taking care of dinosaurs and like the struggles they go through in their everyday lives. And you actually learn about the dinosaurs themselves because there is like a paleontologist consultant on this. So after every chapter ends, the paleontologist has like a paragraph of notes on like why he like speculates like a dinosaur would do this thing. For example, why a dinosaur sits the way it does, and like or why it sits on a particular side of the enclosure the way it does, and what does that mean? And like he gives his actual backing for it, or like why does what does the bone structure of this dinosaur speculate that how the dinosaur behaved and what were its like like habits. So you actually get to like learn about different dinosaurs, and obviously the artwork is stunning and beautiful. The dinosaurs are gorgeously rendered, and the main character is this like hardcore dinosaur fan who wanted to be a zookeeper all her life and finally does. So it's typical like like new person excited wants to do great at her job, but like man, she's so lovely, and I can definitely you know sympathize and like relate to her like love of dinosaurs. And she meets a whole range of characters that are there for like different reasons and have different relationships to dinosaurs. Like right now we're running about like a side character who worked at like an aquarium that's like I think a subsidiary of the dino park that like has like ancient like dinosaur mammals like like mosasaurus and stuff like that. And you see his backstory and how and why he cares about dinos the way he does because of his journey. And so yeah, like this is a must read. And again, outside of Jurassic Park, you can't really name any other like major like franchise. Like the rest are all educational. Like Prehistoric Planet is like I guess exists, but it's still like an educational series. I wouldn't call it a fictional series. So there's not a lot, and like this is one of the few I can genuinely point to, and like yeah, like after if you're like tired of Jurassic World, uh, yeah, pick up Dinosaur Sanctuary. Also, like the park, it has problems, but it's not Jurassic Park level of like the carnivores are out and they're eating everybody. Kind of okay. Some carnivores do get out.
Oh,
But it's not like it's handled very differently. Also, the dinosaurs are like they're not like in Jurassic Park, they're like made to be as scary or as big as possible. In this one, like no, they're following as accurately as possible to like as much as is known right now about dinosaurs and fossil records and stuff. So, for example, a velociraptor gets out. Now, in the movies of Jurassic Park, velociraptors are like built as this like monster as like big as a human that's like super smart and it's like a killing machine. In this one, no, it's literally like a size of a turkey. It's just like running around. It's like a very like large chicken that's like running around. We gotta capture it. Like yeah. So it's not like that at all. It's genuinely like the park is functional, and they're literally like trying to find ways because one of the storylines is that the park is losing money, and they're worried what's going to happen if the park doesn't keep profit.
Wait, how does a dinosaur park lose money?
People are bored of them now. They're like it was a novelty when it was there, but now it's been like years later, and like people are bored and they kind of see it as like, oh yeah, we have this technology now. It's like whatever. Jurassic World went with the same way, where like like dinosaurs like an everyday thing. No one really cares, and the park is losing money, and they try to like genuinely find ways to make money. They're like, hey, the we get more visitors when they feel a connection to the dinosaurs. What if we live stream like the enclosures, and so that people can like see their dinosaurs like happen and like what habits they have, what their quirks are, and all of that, and we can actually get like donations, and that could be another income stream. So yeah, so there's like
actual zoos do that too. Yeah,
so like there's actual like thought put into this, and you actually like I'm like it's just such a good series. Again, only 4 volumes in. God knows, maybe volume 5 sucks ass. All right, and like it goes off the rails, and next thing you know, it's just like Jurassic Park 2.0, where dinosaurs are killing humans and like fighting each other. But so far in this, it's genuinely about like how do we like the struggles of being a zookeeper, how to take care of animals, and like you actually learn about dinosaurs and like their behaviors and like how they look like and everything, and like gorgeous artwork and like uh, really really awesome. And again, there's not a lot of dinosaur content out there. I can name a billion zombie franchises and zombie movies, but how many dinosaur movies that are fictional, not documentary, like that we're gonna teach you about dinosaurs? Like no, like just a pure story. Like there's what, like Jurassic Park and that movie Dinosaur by Disney, I guess, that you can like name, and like
I mean, yeah, there's a few
oh yeah, like
more, but
Land
they're
Before
more
Time.
like cheesy B
Yeah, like Land Before
movies.
Time
Oh yeah,
and
that
like
too.
The Good Dinosaur. But again, it's like it's not a lot. Like again, you compare it to like
Yeah, these days
yeah,
it's compared to the '90s at least, because the '90s dinosaurs were kind of everywhere, but as time went on, we
you
kind
kind
of
of lost that. And I really hope. But again, I hope we get like different executions. I don't want the same thing over and over again. And like this was a different execution. Like what if the park just worked and like zookeepers genuinely had to try and take care of them, and like dinosaurs became like just a natural part of society, not like in a Flintstones way, but like the park,
right.
like this park is a franchise. There's multiple parks everywhere. It's like it's just genuinely an amusement park. People are aware of it. Go to like a Disneyland. So like but it's like it's falling on hard time. So again, if there's one thing I can get out of this podcast, please go and buy Dinosaur Sanctuary. And like apparently the mangaka is on Twitter and he's like actually like interacting with fans and like wants it like to get an anime one day. So like I didn't know that. Like I really got to do that. Like I talk to the guy. Like my God, I love this series. You have no idea how much I love Dinosaur Sanctuary.
I haven't read it yet just because I'm waiting for it to have a bit more before I jump
Yeah.
into it, since the way to really read it is it coming out with its release, which is like how many do you get like in a year? Like a couple volumes?
I think you get like a couple of like we get 2 volumes per year, I think, as of right now. Is that
right? So I'm just kind of waiting for it to build up. But so I want to read the series. Do they come across dinosaurs the same way as they did in Jurassic Park? They just kind of
it's the same sort of
clone
they're just
them,
like
or
they got DNA and they cloned them and stuff. So it's like literally like oh my God, this is like what Jurassic World should have been. The park works. What happens now? Which like Just Struggle touched on a little bit, but then it devolved into like, oh, they're out, they're killing everybody. But this one's like, no, the park works. It's going to continue to work, and we have to find out to keep it working because we care about these dinosaurs and learning about them and like having a piece of history like recreated in front of our eyes and stuff like it's.
I see. And then no one from the military's come to inquire about the dinosaurs.
No dinosaur men. At least not as of yet. I don't think it will.
Damn, that was my next question.
No dinosaur men. No, let's put lasers and guns and have them like I don't know track missiles or whatever. Like none of that shit.
All right.
Yeah.
See, now this is my only question. I'm curious if the manga, or I'm not sure if it has or not, because like zoos, a lot of people have very mixed emotions on zoos because of the treatment of animals, this, that, the other. Even though sometimes like a proper zoo is supposed to rehabilitate them or nurture like an endangered species. Since dinosaurs in this world were just kind of like brought to life and they're just put in a zoo, or they're like protesters being like, let them out.
No, not really. It's just maybe later on.
There's no like ethics played at all yet. Okay.
There is ethics in as much as like the amount of effort
for like a proper
zoo.
like
the amount of effort it takes to properly, because they have to think about the environment and like what the creature's habits are, what's its diet like, what does it eat, what does it need. This so ethics goes as far as if an emergency happens, what medical attention it needs. Some of the dinosaurs have gone through injuries, so like what happens, how do you take care of an injured animal, and how much harder that makes it for the zookeeper, because now there's like 20 more things you got to worry about if an animal's injured. So there's like that. There is no protest arc yet. I don't know if there will be, because like, or if it did, maybe it was maybe in the past when it was new, because in this universe, this technology has been there for a while, like decades, I think, at this point. That's why it's like the parks are down. Like nobody really cares about them anymore. So that's why. So who knows? Again, like it's still early days. Again, this manga only came out in 2021. That's when it started. So it's still early days. Who knows what arcs might come forward later? But like, yeah, I do have a good feeling about this, and I really do want this manga to get supported. And like I said, like give me more, man. Like as I want this manga to ride its full life, and if its life is like 15 volumes, then let that be. But if it has a chance to get to like 20, 25, 30, like I hope it gets that far, because I want to see more dinosaurs. I want to see more arcs. I love these characters. I love the struggles and they go through, and I really get excited anytime this manga comes out. It's like my like must read of like that day when I purchase it. Yeah.
All right, that's good to hear. I mean, I know there's been like on the manga scene, there's been a lot of buzz for this manga too. I think it's being I don't think it won anything yet, but it is being nominated for like some English manga award.
Oh,
I
that's
forgot
good.
the exact category. I think it's like best new series.
Ah.
It got nominated for with a bunch of others. So it's definitely making a buzz over here, you know, in the English speaking world. So hopefully that also translates to Japan, especially with the mangaka on Twitter, because I think I saw them even like responding to like a Spanish comment one time. So they're really just after there. So like if you tweet about this manga, they might find you and be like, "Hey, cool, thank you."
Awesome. Yeah, so like I really do hope like this gains momentum, because if there's one manga I don't want cancelled, any other manga gets cancelled. Like, if Monster Musume gets cancelled, it's like, you know what? I appreciate what we got. You know. But
I had my fair share of monster
yes,
titty.
yes. Like it'll be a shame. I will be disappointed, because I want this. Obviously, I want every series that's successful to get a proper ending. But if it doesn't, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lose that much sleep. Man, if Dinosaur Sanctuary gets cancelled, I'm throwing hands at people.
I'm going to Japan.
I'm going to Japan. I'm going to point fingers. Who knows? This might be I make a YouTube channel and be like, you fucking bastards. you.
Hamza learns fluent Japanese. Does a takedown of this.
I'll make one in Japanese and one in English. I'm going to blame both sets of fans. Like, you guys didn't buy this enough. You If there's
fuckers.
one manga you were not supposed to pirate, it was this. Do you know? Could you name me 5 dinosaur manga right now? On one.
Let me see if I could do this. So, okay, define dinosaur manga. Does it just have to feature dinosaurs,
Dinosaurs
or like dinosaurs have to be a main?
Dinosaurs are a main feature of it. Like they're a main.
So like Getter Robo won't count.
Point.
Because of the
I'll give it a
Dinosaur
0.5.
Empire. Okay, so then the give that a full point. We also have God Mazinger.
I wouldn't count, for example, Gone, because Gone is like, it's one dinosaur, but it's mostly about like regular animals. So I wouldn't really count.
No, but he's also. I think he's also of other dinosaurs
Is he?
too. He's like in the prehistoric. Yeah,
I thought it was like, I thought it was like he's the last living dinosaur and he's interacting with like modern day animals. I thought that was the series pitch.
No, I think there's still other animals there too. I think he's in the Jurassic. You just follow him. I was about to say Gone too, so I was just like, wait.
I don't know. That's the pitch I got. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I'll still read it, but like, still, I'm like, that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I need to read it too because it has no
it's
words.
no words. It's
but
just
like
pure.
I saw it one time online, and then since then, like, I guess they all got taken down. Huh. Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm like on my anime list to see if it's like he's the last dinosaur. It doesn't mention anything else about other dinosaurs. Yeah. He also did appear in a Tekken game.
Why would it, okay, never mind. The Japan has weird crossovers, so yeah.
But he did have like a 3D CG anime. Maybe that's where. Let me see if there's a picture of that. And there's other dinosaurs. Well, I do see a Sabretooth.
Okay, maybe it's mammals then? Like other like
yeah, the poster doesn't like it's mostly other mammals, but like some of them look like Ice Age-ish. So I don't know.
Yeah. So anyways, maybe we can count that, but like so I don't think like again it's not a lot. You gotta like think about it. If I ask you name 10 battle shonen anime, like okay, you like we can off the Rolodex like easily just name like off the tip of your tongue.
That's true.
But with dinosaurs,
we definitely need more
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
With dinosaur manga, you gotta think about it. And then you've got weird half ones. Get a robo, I'll acknowledge it has dinosaurs, but again, it's like
there's T-Rex Kanojo.
Oh, my girlfriend's a T-Rex, right? I read that one.
It's a
again, it's
just a Monster Girl
that's a Monster Girl
series.
series. I wouldn't count it. Yeah, no, it's just a Monster Girl series. Yeah. Again, it's a real dinosaurs being a main feature. There are some comics. I bought one physically called Xenozoic. It's about these people that go back in time to dinosaur times and try to survive. There's another comic called Flesh. Again, same thing, time travel, because they got to justify why humans and dinosaurs are together. I think that's the main issue you got to hurdle over. Is okay, how do you get dinosaurs and humans at the same time? There's one webtoon I'm reading. It also has a hardcover out and a softcover, maybe, I think, called Darby. No humans.
Oh, right.
Only dinosaurs. And it's awesome. And the dinosaurs do talk. There is dialogue, so they have character and everything. But no humans. It's purely just a T-Rex from trying to survive its harsh life from baby to adulthood. So yeah, there is dinosaur content out there, but man, you gotta dig and search. It's not gonna come to you like other stuff.
It's not as common as we'd like.
Yeah,
but all right. So yeah, I guess you got me there.
All right. So moving away from creatures for a second. So if you've been listening to me for something, I'm an action guy. All right, action to me is peak. All right, you got a good action series, I'm there. All right, and if I'm not there, I will be there. Okay, all right, because someone's gonna be like, "Did you watch this?" I'm like, "No, I haven't," but I'll get there. There's a Bruce Lee show called Warrior. It's it's an action show. I think it's on HBO Max, if I'm not mistaken. Where
yeah.
So
I saw it.
Yeah, so I need to see that. I haven't seen Karate Kid yet or Cobra Kai, and stuff. So there is stuff I haven't seen, but action to me is very important, both in movies, TV, and also manga. I do appreciate good, panel layout and structure when it comes to action, and my next three choices are all about that. What I think are manga series that do action very, very well, if not masterfully. And this one has been, Sheen's made a video on it. It's been described as Japanese John Wick. There's going to be an anime for it coming out, and I can't wait to see what people's reactions are going to be. It's Sakamoto Days. I do love this manga. I had a great time. It's also so funny. The action scenes make you laugh as well. It has that Jackie Chan kind of vibe to it sometimes. He just slaps a passport in somebody's face.
Right.
It's so good. I really do enjoy this. I was actually up to date with this week to week, but then every single manga that I've been up to date with on a week to week basis, I eventually fall off, and then it's oh, it's been so long. I gotta start from the beginning.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. But this is such a good series. I'm so glad Shaheen introduced me to it, and it was I think we were talking about this every week when the manga chapter would come out, and it was the highlight of the week. Yeah.
See, I miss having a friend to do that with. That's why every time Hamza'S up to date with Jump series, I'm like, oh boy, something to talk about. A new Jump manga week to week, and he's like, well, I'm a bit behind. I'm like, no. Happened with Hero Academia, happened with Chainsaw Man, it happened with Sakamoto Days. I'm just constant pain.
Listen, if they just if you just how about listen? As you put the blame on me, maybe put the blame on you. All right, how about you just
me?
Just let go of the weekly week to week schedule. Just read the volumes, then we'll be on the same page.
Okay, well, with Chainsaw Man, I can't afford that. I'm going to get spoiled. Same thing with One Piece. I can't afford those two. Those two, I'll be spoiled if I do that strategy. Yeah. Sakamoto Days, an anime is coming out, and if the anime does well, which I'm pretty sure it will, as long as they, hit hard with the action department, people are also going to be getting into the manga, and everyone's going to be talking about the manga. So then, yeah, it's not going to work out. I have to be up to date with these things.
So we haven't gotten to the story of Sakamoto. So basically, there's this retired assassin who was the best assassin in the world. He's fully domesticated. He's like kind of fat, chubby now. He runs a supermarket store with his wife. But, to quote Al Pacino in Godfather 3, I got out and they pulled me back in. So eventually he gets.
Oh, is that where that's from?
That's where that's from. Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know. I've heard that line used so many times in other media, but I didn't know it was from that. Okay.
Yeah, it's from Godfather 3.
I learned something new today.
Yeah. So he gets brought back into the assassin world. And in this, what pirates are to One Piece, what superheroes are to My Hero Academia, what ninjas are in Naruto, assassins in this are the exact same thing. They're like these really crazy, super-powered beings that have their own society and rules and their own, battle system and, ways of fighting and stuff. And it's, way over the top. You've got, a samurai that can, slice a building in half. I know it's not going on. Yeah, and stuff. So, and, it's just about this guy, just trying to, live his best life normally, but, just gets brought back in and, there's this whole conspiracy theory going on in the assassin world. He gets roped into it, and he meets a lot of amazing characters along the way, like a sniper with a pet bird.
Best boy.
Yeah, yeah. Shane really liked that one. I wonder why. They gotta get a.
He needs to be utilized more.
Oh, really? Okay. Because where I'm at, he's
yeah, he's not as utilized,
okay.
But yeah.
So, this is a really funny series. Awesome, just really inventive action scenes. Did this one had the guy with the? Oh yeah, this did that. It had literally one of the characters is an action movie director.
Right. Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah, this and Fire Punch. I think I was reading at the same time, and both of them had similar concepts with a person just really into movies. And both are good action scenes, but I think Sakamoto Days trumps Fire Punch in terms of action, just on pure inventiveness, imagination, and execution alone. Not to say Fire Punch was bad, but Sakamoto Days is just oh
right, yeah. Fire Punch had some good scenes, but no, Sakamoto Days it's a lot more. I mean, Fire Punch had a couple cinematic fight scenes, but with Sakamoto Days, it does a lot more often.
Yeah, yeah, and it's ridiculous. Don't take the series too seriously. This chubby fat guy somehow gets disguised as a really thin woman. And I told you.
Oh, yeah, for a whole school
arc. For one whole arc. And I told you, listen, I believe that, the assassins live in this world. They basically have superpowers. They don't call them superpowers, but they, if you watch them fight, it's okay, this is a superhero fight. I believe that there's this underground assassin world. I believe that this chubby guy is the best assassin and still is the best assassin that's ever lived. I draw the line at him being disguised as a woman for an entire arc and it somehow working out.
Because it's not just that. It's just disguised as this beautiful thin woman. It's where did the fat go? I mean, they kind of explain that because the way Sakamoto powers up is
oh yeah,
his weight just goes away. He reverts back to how he used to look, and then he just gains it back.
Yeah, and he truly does love his wife and his daughter. Yeah, he's a dad, and he just wants to live a happy life with them. But man, this assassin world would just not leave him alone and stuff. So again, same thing. He goes into retirement, comes back, similar to John Wick. That's why it's been called this is just Japanese John Wick. But yeah, really, really awesome action scenes. I really this is one of those series that I do out of every series I've read, this is the one I most want to jump back into because it was just so much fun. I had a blast every time reading it. So yeah, that's why it's in my favorites for now. Even though I don't know where I stopped though. See, this is
I think it was around that.
Oh, it was a cool arc.
School
it was
arc?
In the school arc. Yes, it was in the school arc. By the way, by school arc, I don't mean it's they go to it turns into a high school show. It's just there for an arc and then they get out of it. All right, it's not
right.
Naruto. It's not a My Hero Academia where the school is part of the whole story. No, it's just for one part of the story, and they
yeah, the main character is a grown ass man with a wife and with a daughter. Yeah. I mean, during that school arc, he's disguising himself as a teacher.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
going to the assassin school. But
my one worry was that like, oh, is it just gonna turn into this like for the whole thing? No, but like thankfully, no, I've heard that like it's just for an arc, and then they get out and moves on to like another.
I mean, I knew it was just for an arc, but like, again, I don't know. As I've gotten older, anytime I see school arc, my interest kind of like dips. So I remember when Sakamoto Days was doing that, I'm like, ooh, and my interest was kind of dipping with the series, but thankfully, it moved out of that, and we got a lot of good moments afterwards.
Yeah. My next pick, also again, like if there are two manga, I think that like do action perfectly. Like your eyes will just glide over the page, and like next thing you know, you think you've started a volume, then suddenly the volume just ended, and you're like, "Whoa, what the heck? That was like really fast. Like how the heck did that happen?" And you just never notice it. Like the action scene is so well done, the choreography, the paneling, the way it directs your eyes from like movement to movement, motion to motion. It's so masterfully done, and the rendering just like awesome. I mean, this is drawn by Yusuke Murata. Like the man just like I mean, he has to go down in history as like one of the greatest manga artists of all time. He just has to, right? And yeah, so if you haven't guessed it by now, it is One Punch Man. Uh, Similar category to My Hero Academia. It is about superheroes, except the stories that like uh, the main character.
It's more of a parody.
It defeats everything in one punch. It starts off very much as a parody, but as the story goes on, it stops being a parody and it becomes more and more of just a regular superhero manga. It only reminds like it's kind of like you're reading it. After a certain point, you forget that oh yeah, One Punch Man is involved in this because he just dips like in like you'll read like 5-10 chapters. Saitama, the One Punch Man himself, is not to be seen, and then he just shows up and goes, "Oh yeah, right, this is about you. This is technically your story." But like, there's so many awesome side characters and their struggles because like everybody, there's other superheroes like normal, like yeah, they're strong, but they're not like invincible. So there are like struggles that they have. Like every fight is like they're genuinely fighting for their life. So like yeah, you genuinely forget like, wait, this is a parody manga where a guy just like beats things in one punch and stuff. And it has a different society than My Hero Academia, slightly different flavor, I would say, of a superhero society. Like, there's no school or anything. Superheroes are integrated into society, but like it's not based on quirk. It's like kind of whatever. And there's a ranking system, and it's all about that ranking system. And like the higher rank you are, the more popular you are, the more sponsors you get, the more distinguished you are as a hero. But our main guy, like nobody notices that he's the strongest except for a handful of characters, which just makes it all the more funnier. And like nobody knows that like he's the one who's like been constantly saving people's lives all this time. And it has that thing of like I do agree because now that I've watched Mob Psycho, I think Mob Psycho does the story better. That like even if you have all the power in the world, that doesn't make you happy. You gotta have like you as a person, you gotta make yourself happy and be better and like do like improve outside of that. You can't just rely on that only. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I love both.
Yeah, I like both, but I do think Mob Psycho hits harder.
Mob Psycho, and also it's a complete story now when compared to One Punch Man. Like, Mob had a little bit more. I don't want to sound like it's like trashing One Punch Man. It has a little bit more thought and heart put into it compared to One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Because like One Punch Man kind of started off as a joke, and then both you and I are more familiar with the Yusuke Murata version, which I know he eventually kind of goes off course and kind of made it his own compared to what was originally done by One.
Was just adapting One's like webcomic thing.
No, he goes
in a different direction.
I think around that like tournament arc, that's when he, or maybe even before, like there's like this karate tournament arc. I think he starts doing his like own thing a bit.
Oh, I think I'm past that. I'm in the Monster Association fight arc.
So yeah, I'm not, again, I haven't really touched the original One series in a while, but I have heard that he did go back. I think there's even like, I remember hearing on Twitter that apparently Yusuke Murata like retconned a chapter. He's just like, no, I didn't like this chapter.
Oh, okay. That might explain some things. Okay, because I was reading the volumes and I got up to date with the volumes at the time when, like, this is like last year. And I'm like, oh, I want to continue the story because it's just, like, I liked it so much. So I decided to go on the Shonen Jump app and just continue. Like, if I ended on chapter, I don't know, 196, I'm like, okay, go to chapter 197. Turns out, like, the manga chapters in the volumes are different than the ones on the Shonen Jump app. Like, the rendering is different, things are moved around places, scenes are different. So it's like, I don't know if it's like he does a version for the weekly Shonen Jump, but then when the actual volumes comes out, he re-renders, and like that's where maybe the retcon is coming in. Because, like, yeah, like, I couldn't, like, they're essentially two, like, I was literally looking at the same story, but like two different renderings of like how this fight went, and like the dialogue, and like how the panels were laid out, like very very different, to the point where like the chapter numbers are even different. It's not like, oh, 197 Shonen Jump is like different from 197 in the volume. Like, oh no, it's like 197 in is a complete, like, it's referencing a completely different story. It's like the numbers are not even lining up. So I don't know if that's where it's coming from. Yeah, so I was like really shocked by that because I've never heard anybody talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't either until you
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
about it. And I'm like, oh wow, that's a bit interesting.
Yeah.
But with my relationship with One Punch Man, I like it, but my I don't know, it's always like a heart rate monitor with me. There's times where I'm like locked in. I can't wait for the next chapter. I'm like, holy shit, this is hype. And then my interest kind of like just drops down a bit. I'm like, I don't really care. I mean, I'm still been up to date with it, and there's a lot of things I definitely do appreciate and like about it. But
Well, what don't you like about it? Why do you have bad taste? Let me know.
why do I have bad taste? I don't know, man. It's just
Yeah. I
after
had,
a while, yeah.
because of this manga, I had zero interest in iShield 21. I'm like, it's about American football. Who gives a shit? But after Haikyuu and Ace of Diamond 2 sports series, and then, like, yeah, actually consuming Yusuke Murata art, and when I found out that, oh my god, Yusuke Murata's previous series was iShield 21, I'm like, I gotta watch it. And I think, I mean, this is going to apply to another manga later on, but like, I do think this also, I've heard people apply this to the iShield 21 anime. It doesn't come close to Yusuke Murata's art at all. Like, it's one of those, like, you have to read the manga. The anime just doesn't do it justice. The anime is fun, but like, if you want to see genuine, beautiful art, you gotta read the manga. That's the only way. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, of course, it'd be hard to. I mean, Yusuke Murata is like a beast. Like, I think he even has his own like mini anime that you can see on Twitter that I think he animated himself or something
When does
like
he have
that.
time
Like,
for that? Like, oh, good.
I
I
don't
think.
know. And then he's constantly doing like some promotional image or something. I'm like, dude, like, rest thy hands.
uh, yeah, so like, I because, like, most Shonen Jump artists are like, isn't One Punch Man monthly though? If I'm not mistaken, it is monthly, correct?
Honestly, I don't know because I mainly read One Punch Man through the Jump
Yeah,
app. I just feel like every now and then a chapter comes up and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm reading One Punch Man
because I
today.
do remember that One Punch Man is the only exception that it is monthly. But like, yeah, because like, I think that's, it takes some time to, like, obviously, like, put that much into the world, but like, it's a hit, so like Shonen Jump is like okay with it. I don't know if it's in Shonen Jump or one of those their other magazines like V Plus or
It's
whatever.
probably
Yeah.
yeah. Let me
Yeah.
quickly take a look on my anime list. It just says it's in.
Pretty sure I'm just gonna say Weekly Shonen Jump or something, right? Does it actually say which magazine?
It's in Tonari no Young Jump.
Okay, so it is in a different magazine. Okay, so it's not Weekly Shonen Jump itself. Okay.
I'm actually looking at this magazine. I do not recognize any of the other manga.
Really? Because
No.
Black Clover,
A
Boruto.
lot of them don't even look like action manga.
Because like,
Like a lot of them just look like slice of life or
yeah, because
romance.
like Black Clover, Boruto, and Dragon Ball Super are not in Weekly Shonen Jump. They're in a different manga. So I thought like it would be the same thing for this.
Oh, okay. Chojin X is on here. Okay.
Oh, okay, all right. Still, yeah, that's okay. It's not Shonen Jump, but it's like that. Okay.
It's under the Jump umbrella.
Right. Anyways, okay, the next series, again, Shane mentioned this on his podcast, so I'm not gonna like bury the lead here. It's Dragon Ball. I do 1,000% believe that this manga is weirdly underrated because when it comes to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, uh, like people only refer to the anime and like how influential the anime was, how big the anime was, and like like it's all like anime focused. I do genuinely think that like the definitive way to like consume it is the Dragon Ball manga because I find so this is how it started, right? I never once consumed Dragon Ball as a kid. It was always around me. I knew people were a fan of it. I heard Vegeta and Goku's names hundreds of times, but I never knew what they were about. And then uh, in university, I decided, like, you know what? I am going to start Dragon Ball. I gotta like experience this series at least once in my like anime journey. It's like impossible to avoid it, right? So I now the question becomes like, okay, do you start with Dragon Ball? Do you start with Z? And unfortunately, most of people who I knew were Dragon Ball fans at my university were like, just start with Z. Dragon Ball doesn't matter, which I know Shaheen vehemently disagrees with, and I disagree with too. There's so much you miss by not experiencing Dragon Ball.
Also, if you go by the manga, that's literally just like, yeah, start this manga chapter like 300 or something.
Yeah. So I didn't listen to them. I decided to start with Dragon Ball, and the anime was fine, but I had like real pacing problems with it. So I just switched to the manga because like the stories are very simple and it's meant to like you have to go quickly through it. But like I know the anime just like takes time and it extends scenes, which I really feel like or not, but like with the manga you can just like flip through it very quickly. So I switched to the manga, loved it. It was the final arc with like the fight with Piccolo, and like Goku was like I guess a teenager, not an adult, but like not a kid, like kind of like in the middle. Um, and then it's like okay, I'm done with Dragon Ball. I know the context now for everything. Let's start Z again. Started Z with the anime. Which dub, which version, I don't know. Whatever it was on Crunchyroll. Okay, whatever that version is, I did that. Okay, it wasn't widescreen. Yes, it wasn't 4:3. I'm sorry. Yeah, because people give a shit about that as well now. So I did that. Some people did mention I should maybe do like just watch Kai, but I didn't but I've heard the Kai is different music, and apparently the music is important for Dragon Ball Z, so you gotta hear the original music.
I swear it shouldn't be that hard. I don't know why fans and even a lot of the companies that like license Dragon Ball have just made it so needlessly hard to like get the proper edition.
Yeah, it's because there's like so many different versions, and then dude, even the Dragon Ball Z Kai, what do you call anime messed up because like up until the Cell Saga, they remove the filler, they remove any extra like scenes. They change the dialogue. They purely only like if it's in the manga we put it in. If it's not in the manga we don't. Like it's just pure like this is the manga to the anime. We're removing any extra anime original stuff. But then Majin Buu Saga, and it's in 4:3 as well. The Kai like aspect ratio. But when you get to the Majin Buu Saga, all the extra scenes are still in, and it's 16:9, and all the extra the dialogue is like very much like similar to like Dragon Ball Z original like dub and stuff. So like that was confusing to learn about. I'm like, okay, so even Kai itself is not perfect. But anyways, that's not about that horrible anime. It's about the beautiful manga. Okay, the manga is amazing. I had a blast with it. I'm like, okay, this is why it's popular. And like, oh my god, the action. Toriyama knows how to structure a page. Again, he knows how to like move your eye across the page. Emphasize certain things, and then it's a very simple story. I know people like to claim that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are deeper than they are. Uh, I I get what they're saying, but like it's not that deep. Even Vegeta, like I know Vegeta is like, oh my god, he's so complex. He's not really not that complex. But still, like but like in the manga it works because you the pacing just works as you get to go through it at like your reading speed. So like nothing takes too long. Spirit Bomb happens very fast. It doesn't take whatever like 2 episodes or whatever it took in the show. And like the dialogue is also like normal. Like the dub dialogue, at least I can't speak to the sub. Although I heard the sub is good, but the dub dialogue was weird. Like for example, Frieza would make references that only an Earthling would know. Like when
Yeah, I think that's a dub only
yeah,
thing.
like
Funimation did kind
yeah,
of
like
take
yeah. So
liberties.
like for example, like when Goku's like like telepathically communicating with somebody, you know, Frieza's like, "What are you on a phone call?" I'm like, "How do you know what a phone call is? Like, do you call your technology a phone as well? That's what we call it." And then when one of the many times that Krillin dies, he gets stabbed by Frieza's horn. He's like waving him around, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, giddy up, cowboy." Yeah, it's like, how do you know what a cowboy is? That's again, that's a very Earth centric thing. Like, if a human said it, I would understand. But like, you're an alien that's never even been to Earth. You didn't care. You didn't give two shits about
Well,
Earth.
I don't know, man. Maybe there's space
This is not Space
cowboys,
Tent.
Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop. Okay, yeah. So like that took me out. Like I know again that's nitpicking. I understand. Like just like it's Dragon Ball. Just like go with the flow. Watch the fights. But like again, it's like wait. My brain just could not help but like take me out of like the immersion. All right, of the scene. um, so like yeah. So if you are a fan who's like wants to revisit Dragon Ball, or you've only watched the anime, you've never touched the manga, I guarantee you the manga is superior. The action is superior. It is much faster. You have none of the pacing issues. There's only one version of the manga. If you go by the official English version, or even the scanlations, I think there's like one popular scan that like everybody uses. So like
Yeah, unfortunately, the Jump app, like for Dragon Ball, because even though it's technically one series, the Jump app splits them.
Yeah, Viz splits
Dragon Ball,
them,
yeah. So Dragon Ball and the Jump app, perfectly serviceable, very good. For whatever reason, when they get to Z, the scanlation kind of changes, and like, I guess it's kind of like lore accurate because Goku was kind of raised in the mountains and everything. He's kind of a hick. But like him, Krellin, and Master Roshi, and at least with the Jump app, when I was reading it like a few months ago, kind of talk with that twang, and it becomes really like disruptive and kind of annoying because they're constantly shortening words and using like that kind of like
contractions with apostrophe.
Speech.
Yeah, like
yeah. So I'm just like, man, what the fuck? So I had to go, despite me having this app I'm paying for, which it's cheap. It's not that bad, and there's plenty of other great things about that app. But despite doing that, I still have to go like on like a pirate site and get like a better version of the scans and everything. And I'm like, that kind of sucks. But
so I didn't mind it, to be honest. I didn't notice it, but honestly, if you didn't point it out, I would have never noticed it. So it doesn't really bother me. It's like I can get past it. It's the same translation as in the volumes, but I didn't mind it. I think it goes away in the Frieza saga. It gets very less and stuff. So like I don't know, maybe that's the thing that continues on. They stopped it. It was only at the beginning. But like yeah, again, I highly recommend. I mean, it's Dragon Ball. It's not allowed to say, but like again, like if you're a person who's never experienced Dragon Ball, read the manga. If you're a person who has experienced the anime, read the manga. It is better. It is the superior version. I will die on this hill. I don't care what anybody says. But you don't hear the music. I don't care. Like literally, like my high school friend who was trying to get me into Dragon Ball spent 30 minutes going to different illegal streaming sites because at the time Crunchyroll didn't exist in the Middle East. So illegal streaming sites were our only option to find the version with the correct opening, because he somehow watched it in dub, but with the Chala Hechala opening, like the Japanese opening. Because if you watch the dub right now, like on Crunchyroll, the opening is like it's only instrumental. There's no lyrics and stuff. So, which is annoying. I don't know why they couldn't do that. But like, Yeah, so he was trying to find that particular version because that's the version he saw, but he couldn't. Any opening he found was the just a guitar like instrumental version. That's it. Um, and like again, he's been like 20, 30 minutes just doing that. So like, I know how intense Dragon Ball fandom can be, uh, but like, just chill the fuck out.
You can still put on the soundtrack in the background, so you can still get the
Sure, you
best
can
of both
do that.
worlds.
Fine. So like I don't yeah, so I don't care. I will die on this hill. Like Dragon Ball the manga is the definitive way to do it. And I converted Shaheen to this. And who knows, maybe when I get to Super, I have not consumed Super yet, other than the two movies, which I think retroactively are now part of Super, the Resurrection F and Battle of the Gods.
Yeah, they're part of
Yeah,
Super.
yeah. Because at the time they were under the Z banner, all right? Back in the old days.
Yeah, I mean even Broly, superhero.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I can't wait to see, because I've heard mixed things about the Super manga, because it's not Toriyama anymore. I forgot the name of the person.
Toyotaro,
Toyotaro,
which apparently Toriyama did help him. So there's a bit of that, but you could definitely it's definitely missing the Toriyama touch.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's missing the Toriyama touch, and like it's. But I heard the manga is like slightly different to Super because it's going in different directions at this point. And like there's chapters in the manga, like arcs in the manga that are like continuing, but like the show has not touched upon yet. And it's also right now, I think, just like adapting the movie, this Dragon Ball superhero.
Right. Yes. Right now it's adapting that movie. Afterwards, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with it, considering the Dragon Ball anime is coming back, but it's not adapting Super. It's its own thing with Dragon Ball Daima.
Yeah. So I mean, we live in this weird world where like Boruto the anime is different and Boruto the manga is different. Uh, and like and like I think the same can. I think no, Boruto is the only one I can think of that like has that issue right now, where it's like we live in this weird world now where like sequel manga are like different to their sequel anime. It's like weird, even though they're happening at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. Yeah. I'm curious because I know like they want to expand more on Dragon Ball. So we'll see how that works, because Dragon Ball has been going in a lot of different directions. Like they even had like a battle royale game that came out like a couple years ago.
Okay.
Or not battle royale, like a survival horror where you're running away from Cell.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So Dragon Ball's gone in all kind of directions. It's like one of those series where I'm pretty sure you could live off merch alone.
Well, what I'm doing for this series, it's something new because I haven't done it. I am reading the manga, but then I'm stopping to like watch the movies. So after I'm done with the Frieza arc, for example, I will watch like the movies with Cooler in it. When I finish the Saiyan saga, I watched the first movie with like Garlic. I might watch the filler for like because like Garlic comes back in a filler arc later on, so I might watch just to see the finishing of that. Like because like I don't want to see the same scenes. I want to see like different stuff. Stuff I haven't seen before.
Also, I don't know because like Dragon Ball movies, real quick, because I reviewed all of them up till like Resurrection F on my YouTube channel. I feel like the first two Dragon Ball movies are good. I don't know why everyone's like, "Oh, they suck." I'm like, they're just fun 30-minute adventures.
Oh yeah, they are like 30 minutes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're like fun 30 minutes, and they also it was like early Dragon Ball Z, but like in those movies, there's a lot more like martial arts focus. True. Which, eventually in Dragon Ball Z, that kind of gets just like thrown in the trash. So I'm like, it's kind of refreshing in a sense too. Like, I don't know, it's not like a deep, complex movie, but like a majority of Dragon Ball Z movies. So I don't know why those first two always get a lot of hate. I really like the first two.
I have to finish the second one. I didn't finish it. It's the one with the mad scientist guy, right? That's
the world's strongest. Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta finish that. So yeah, I am in the process of rereading it. I gotta finish it off and then move on to Super. So yeah, that's Dragon Ball. I think we've talked enough. I mean, we've talked about it twice. Your and my. Oh yeah, I wouldn't do check out more of Toriyama's work. I gotta check out Sandland. I gotta check out the Bounty Hunter, Alien Bounty Hunter one. I haven't read that yet. and
Jacko.
I think Jacko. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, he pops up.
Yeah, because he probably pops up in Super, so I'm like, okay, I gotta read that. Yes, so Sandland, and then also I might check out Doctor Slump. I'm in two minds about it. I'm like, kind of yes, kind of. What I mean, I did like Toriyama's comedy, so like, let's see, how Doctor Slump works out. So yeah, that's Dragon Ball. R.I.P. Toriyama. We lost a legend. But like, I'm thankful for what he was able to like give us. Next, Shaheen hates this manga. He thinks it's.
Oh my god, we're really we're going on with the slander right now.
Shaheen hates this manga. He thinks people who read this are like assholes and like snotty manga and like anime people. That like that's what he thinks about this. I think this is a masterpiece. If there if Berserk is like unanimously agreed upon as like the best manga ever made, I think you can unanimously agree that this is number 2, and it's Vinland Saga. I love this manga so much. The art in this is to like die for, and the story is amazing. Like the prologue of this is 100 chapters, and you don't even realize it's the prologue until it mentions it. Like, oh, end of prologue, and now the real story is gonna begin. And those first 100 chapters are badass. It's about this. It's about Viking. Apparently, this is the only manga about Viking. Apparently, like I just really like if you're
really?
Yeah. Apparently, it's like claim to fame is like if you want a Viking manga, this is it. There's no other manga that touches it. Maybe that Ice one that came out from Shonen Jump, but that's very recent, and it got canceled. So, yeah. So like,
so sorry, that doesn't feel right.
That's what I've heard. I'm not
right.
100% sure. I'm not stating this as like complete fact, but like, yeah. But like, this is definitely like the Viking manga. If there ever,
it's like
it's the Viking manga.
It's definitely the like.
It's about a kid who grown up in this like Viking culture, and then unfortunately his family gets killed, and it starts off as this like kid looking for revenge, but then as the story goes on, he realizes that like violence is not the way, and he becomes passive, and he tries to get to like leave Europe and go to the New World, which they named Vinland, because over there everybody's treated equally and there's no violence. And the mangaka for this in the volumes, which they have like thick ass volumes for these. I think it's like a 2-in-1 or like 3-in-1.
And they're going to get even thicker because there's a deluxe edition on the
way to match the Berserk ones. Like he was always interested in like what would happen, like because he's like against violence and against war, but like what if you had someone within one of the most violent civilizations that ever lived, being Viking culture. So he wanted to write about that, and all I'm going to say is if you think the farming arc is boring and you don't understand it, what happened to all the killing and fighting, you don't understand what the meaning of the story is. Right? You're going to die on this hill. And it is just gorgeous, awesome, and awesome commentary on father and sons, the cycle of violence and like what it takes to like change people, and like gorgeous art with wonderful characters, beautiful storytelling. Just it's so good. I don't know why Shaheen hates this. He despises this manga.
Okay.
He thinks he called it mid. This is not a
wow. Fake news, Hamza.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me defend myself real quick. I've had to do this multiple times in the past, but I think those podcasts, like the audio got corrupted. So hopefully this time I can defend myself and the audio doesn't get corrupted. So this lie can stop. See, with Vinland Saga, I have an interesting history with it. And I haven't even touched the series. All right?
Yeah.
So before, my little brother, he was watching the anime. And he kept on annoying me insistently. Watch the anime. Watch the anime. I'm like, no, watch the anime. I'm like, I'm busy. Watch the anime. Like, I have other things I need to watch. Then he's like, well, you're a One Piece fan. One Piece is long and stupid. You should make time for Vinland Saga. And I'm like, bro, I've been up to date with One Piece for like years. What are you talking about? And then because of that, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Vinland Saga was up next on the list, but because of your outburst, it's going 10 years back into the future. Funny enough, though, this little brother, if you've been listening to the Punchcast for a while now, he's the same little brother that, due to the One Piece live action, now he's a huge One Piece fan, and he's like currently towards the end of the Wano arc. So he switched up on that, but he's like, you should still watch Vinland Saga. I'm like, one of these days, and I'll read it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to read it. But then, like, Vinland Saga fans are starting to annoy me. Because every time I would go online, it's like, the must-read seinen manga. And it's always, Berserk, Vagabond, and Vinland Saga. And I don't have a problem with that. I get it. They're the most popular. They're the most accessible. Blah, blah, blah. But these fuckers, all right? They start coming after other creators I like. They're like, fuck Jack Kirby. Why could he draw like the creator of Vinland Saga? I'm like, you shut your whore mouth. We don't insult Jack Kirby in this household.
Oh God! Yeah, I don't know why.
And then, I don't know why. Like, out of everyone to go attack as a Vinland Saga fan, I don't know why you're coming after.
It wasn't even another.
The king.
It's not even like another mangaka. It's just like a comic book creator from
like one of the most iconic comic creators in the world. Yeah. I don't know why you're taking swings at him. I'm like, go get fucked, man. Like, what the hell? But no, there's tons of times where I just see also Berserk fans, Vagabond fans, and Vinland Saga fans. Some of them I feel like don't understand the manga they're hyping up, because they're constantly being like, oh, this is a series for alpha males, and when I read this manga, I'm on my Sigma grind set. I'm look maxing, blah blah blah. Finn, I have no enemies. They say I have no enemies, but I don't think they really know what that quote really means.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the father of the main character was like a huge, massive, like strong warrior, and he is so against fighting to the point where he tells his son that fighting, like, he doesn't say fighting is pointless, but he tells his son, you have no enemies. Essentially saying, like, fighting is pointless, live, like, a peaceful, normal life. But the son doesn't get that lesson until years later, when he actually genuinely reflects back on his childhood, because at the start, he's just consumed by revenge. Like, I have to find the guy that killed my father. And stuff. So, like, yeah, it's so just amazing storytelling. I just get chills every time I think about it. But like, yeah, I will get back to this manga eventually. That's why, like, when the story switches up and becomes more like talky and more like gets away from the fighting stuff. Fighting stuff still happens, but just not as much as the first 100 chapters. Because it's not like a main prevalent theme. Because obviously there's like other themes to talk about and explore. But like, yeah, like it really annoys me when they're like, well, let's get back to the fighting. I'm here for Viking murder. I'm like, that's the whole... the main character doesn't want that. Like, what's wrong with you?
He clearly doesn't want to murder anymore.
Yeah.
But he has to go back to the Sigma grind set, alpha male.
Oh, God.
The truest Sigma grind set is to simply live peacefully.
Even the mangaka in an interview said that when he started, it's called the Farmland arc. That's where it like switches up after the prologue and like becomes like a much less violent manga. He was worried himself that like, are my readers going to understand? Will they be comfortable with the switch up? But he's like, thankfully they did. They understood what the story was about and like stuck with me, and I really like appreciate them for it, because I knew it was going to be like a different turn and stuff. And from the manga explaining podcast, I learned that like this started in a shonen magazine, then eventually switched to seinen. So it's just like, that's an interesting. I don't know. I didn't know that could even happen. I thought everything just like got slotted into its place perfectly from the start. But like, no, it started off as a shonen, but then eventually they're like, this needs to be a seinen, and they moved it to the seinen magazine.
Yeah, there's a few series that's happened to, but yeah, I don't know. I do really like the mangaka. I've seen some interactions with him on Twitter. They're really wholesome, and he's really big into like pacifism. Like I've seen quotes with him just being like, yeah, if I was forced to go to war, I simply would refuse. Or like, I want to live in a world where pulling a gun on another person is as embarrassing for the person as like pulling their dick out.
Oh god, such a good series. So like, yeah.
See, I'm like, that's why I'm glad he's not an American comic book artist. Can you imagine? Fucking woke. Go back to the murder.
Oh my god, he must hate Punisher if he like ever like came across that comic. But either way, like yeah, yeah. So that is what the story is about. I like if you're like if you've read Vagabond, if you've read Berserk, and you're like, I don't know why, you're like, I only dine on the finest of art. If you're like that person, Villain Saga will not disappoint. Trust me. Okay?
The finest of art.
I mean, I understand.
I completely understand. I don't know why I'm still hung up about that Jack Kirby guy. I don't know why. It still bothers me to this day. Some fucking random Twitter comment.
Oh god!
Like if I ever find you on the street, man, it's on site.
So yeah, it's like I know, but like seinen fans can be obnoxious and like I don't know, kind of hoity-toity, but like yeah, but
which is weird because you think they'd be more mature.
True, but like there's always that.
But they're like 14-year-olds,
which is weird because like first of all, you shouldn't be. I don't know if you should be reading seinen, but.
See, I can't say anything. I was reading Go Nagai manga and Berserk when I was like 15.
Well, true, but like I mean, me too. But like still, it's like.
Yeah, but I wasn't like having public opinions
about
it. It's
weird, like because like they get into these tribal battles of like seinen versus shonen, which is better. I'm like, why is there verses? In fact, Vinland Saga fans, you should know this better than anyone. Why?
I have no enemies except other manga fans.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's Vinland Saga. Please do check it out. It is going to be worth your time, and you're going to get a beautiful story. But just remember what you're reading. Don't get caught up in the violence. It's not about that. There is violence in this, but like to clearly show how horrifying it can be, and like to clearly show like what he's trying to step away from, and like also trying to show the how war is like built into, especially men. Like there's like people talk about like toxic masculinity, and I know that's like a hot button term, but in this one it genuinely looks like the psychology of like war and how it's like built into men, especially at that time when war was just like everywhere and you had to fight like face to face. Like literally, like there's this scene where like all the Vikings are going to war, and there's they're all like yeah, and like the main character's father's the only one who's like, oh no, like what's gonna happen next is like insane. And literally in the first chapter, the main character's father fights. He doesn't kill anyone. He just incapacitates them. He literally just like knocks them out. Like that's
right.
That's how much of like he's like, no, war is bad, killing is bad. Why can't we just talk this out, please? It's not worth it, because he's like PTSD and shit. So like yeah, please do check it out. You will not be disappointed. And then next is like, I mean, this is obvious. I've mentioned it before, and it's like I think it's the number one on Mal for manga. It's Berserk. I mean,
feeling original today, aren't we, Hamza?
I'm just saying. Sheen also hates this too. He thinks it's mid.
Okay, I do not, bro. I have 2 deluxe editions. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, art is gorgeous, and like, okay, so I have a story with this. So I have a family friend that I've met recently who is like trying to get into Berserk, and he mentioned to me that he was going to start with the 2016 Berserk CGI anime. And I stopped him and I said, don't do that. That is a horrible decision. And I showed him panels from the manga itself, and he was blown away. I'm like, yeah, the anime will never reach this point. Trust me, just read the manga. Or if you have to. Like, I don't know why, like, but if you have to, like, watch it, just watch the 90s anime. But then like switch to the manga if you like have to just like watch a if you I don't know, gun to the head, like you gotta watch the animated Berserk, just watch that one, but like switch to the manga as soon as possible. all right, or just start from the manga from the beginning. He didn't do that. He just went and watched the 2016 one, and he's like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, okay, A, do you not see how bad the animation is? Like, oh yeah, it has horrible animation. And I'm like, okay, B, do you even understand what's happening? Because you don't even know, because the 2016 Berserk anime just starts off after where the 90s one left off, after the demon egg like eclipse thing. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm lost. I don't understand anything that's happening. I'm like, yeah, that's why I told you not to watch it. Because when he did it anyway, so it's like, I think now I got it through his head that like, dude, just go. Even my cousin who was with me, he's like, yeah, dude, like, how would you understand anything? You gotta, he's like, just read the manga or watch the 90s anime and then switch to the manga. So like, yeah, that's what recently happened with me. I don't know why that guy went. Even I told him repeatedly not to. Uh, no.
Some people are just like them. Man.
Yeah, it's so weird. But like, anyways, like this one, I mean, what's there like? There's nothing I can say that hasn't been said. Beautiful storytelling, drop dead gorgeous artwork that I don't think anime can ever, regardless of how good anime becomes, I don't think it can ever reach the artistic rendering that Kenta Miura has on the page. Like, it's just like, I don't know, this man was like a prodigy, I think. Like, if you look at like what he drew at like what he was like 15 or something, it's like, holy crap, like he was that young and he could already do that much. So like, yeah, Berserk, very dark story, not a happy story. A lot of messed up shit happens, but like, dude, you just want guts to live a happy life, and he does towards the latter half of the manga. Thankfully, meets people that like I would say are much better for him. But like, yeah, it's like a tough journey, and he goes through a lot of like trials and tribulations, as dark fantasy as well. So like, yeah, it's like it is a manga with like a guy with a giant sword, but like you're gonna see a lot of like dark stuff, dark monsters, dark magic, and a lot of like sexual assault. So like trigger warning on that. But like, yeah, so like a lot of messed up shit happens. It's not a fun story, but it is a story that like really makes you contemplate like the difficulties in life, and also Guts' journey with like discovering like, hey, what's my dream? Can I even find happiness? And just like the contemplative nature of his like existential crisis and his relationship with Griffith, and just so good. Again, like this is tough to talk about because I'm like, man, if you're an anime manga fan, you already know about Berserk. Like, what can I say that's gonna like convince you otherwise?
Yeah, it's like the seinen poster boy.
True, yes.
It's like when you think of seinen manga, it's
yeah.
Berserk.
It has a similar reputation, I would say, to Dragon Ball in the sense that like I know like there are comic book fans who never have touched manga and have no interest in manga, but then if you ask them, what about Berserk? He's like, oh, I've read Berserk. Or like that's the one manga I'm interested in reading, which is Berserk. So it has that similar reputation where like, there are people out there who don't care about anime, don't really keep up with it, but they have they have seen Dragon Ball. That's the like one anime that they care about. So like, yeah, Berserk is in that same boat, surprisingly, is what I've learned. So like, yeah, unfortunately Kenta Miura passed away, and I think his assistant is taking over now. I don't know how to feel about that. I think I will continue with it, but it does hurt that like, oh, that guy's touch is not going to be like on this anymore. And like we're gonna lose that essence, because I do think something will be lost, that his hand is not guiding the story anymore. Like, no shade to the assistant. I'm sure he's gonna do a great job.
And he has notes from Miura, I believe.
Yeah, Kenta Miura, he does have notes and he knows the ending. But like, again, like the fact that Miura's hand's not, I think there are some people who have like just dropped it completely. Like, you know what? It's gonna be one of those stories that we just never know the ending of. Maybe I'll end up being that person. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know how to feel at the moment, especially since like, I mean, it's been a while. Like, because like, Berserk, unfortunately, it's one of those things that gets hit by a hiatus a lot. So we'll see. But like, yeah, if there's, if you have to, if you're like into seinen and like Vinland Saga is not speaking to you, pick up Berserk, man. Like, it's not going to disappoint. Again, if you have the stomach for it. Like, I mean, literally, Guts gets born while his mother was, like, hanging from a tree, and he, like, flopped out in, like, a sea, like, I think, like, corpses around. Like, that's literally how this guy's birth started. Like,
Yeah, he just did not have it easy at all.
yeah. And I also, another funny anecdote story with this is, like, I met a person who was like, "Hey, I'm reading Berserk and I finished it, or I got up to date at the time." And we asked him, it's like, "Oh, awesome! What did you think about Guts' character?" And then there's like, "Who's Guts?" And then yeah, and then we asked him like, "What do you mean, who's Guts? The main guy with the sword?" He's like, "Oh, I only read the dialogue. I don't look at the art. That's how I read manga." Which, first of all, don't do that. Like, manga's a manga for a reason. Even comic books are like, it's a visual storytelling medium. But also, like, to ignore the art of Berserk of all manga is like, I don't know, that should be a crime. Yeah. So like, that's still like, to this day, that still like haunts me. It's like, how do you even understand what's happening? Like, the dialogue can only take you so far. You gotta see the visuals though. But like, yeah, so again, like, that guy who watched the 2016 anime and this guy who only apparently read the dialogue bubbles, uh really, just, I don't know, I have so many questions, and like, I'm scratching my head after, like, how did you consume the story? uh,
Yeah, definitely some strange Berserk takes.
yeah, in my life. What about you? What's your relationship to Berserk, my man?
You know, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I did probably read it a bit too young,
Same.
so a lot of the more mature themes didn't really absorb. I'm just like, dude, this dude with a giant ass sword is just killing these monsters. Holy crap, this is so dark.
Yeah, I do want to reread it as well, because, not because I don't remember. I do remember good chunks of it, but I do just want to re-experience it, and maybe I'll get something else out of it. Because, like, yeah, like you, like, I did probably read it when I was too young, but like, there's scenes I've reflected on since then, and like, oh, that's what they were like trying to say or trying to do, and now I'm like thinking about them. But like, yeah, like, I'm pretty sure there's other scenes that like my mind has like wiped out, that like, if I re-experience it again, I'm like, oh, this is what they're referencing to or referring, because I've gotten more like life experience and shit. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of those manga, like, with repeated readings, you're gonna get something new out of it every time. I get that feeling from this manga. That's like,
right, which is why I've been trying. Like, I've been kind of rereading it. I haven't bought a new one in a while, but I'm trying to reread it through the deluxe editions.
Yeah. How many of those are going to be there? Like, have they said like what's the total volume count on that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really paid attention to it in a while because they are a bit on the pricier side, so I haven't gotten a new one in a while.
Yeah,
but
the deluxe editions are like these big, thick. I think there might be omnibus size like books.
They're like 3-in-1s.
Yeah, they're 3-in-1s. Yeah. Oh, then they should be. I think like 13, 14 volumes. Then, if they're reading like 3-in-1s, because like there's 41 volumes Dark Horse has published of the trades, of the tankobons. Sorry. So yeah. Yeah, but like, it's. I mean, those Berserk books are like selling like hotcakes. So like, it's glad. I think it's gotten like. I think there's been like a Berserk resurgence because of those deluxe editions, kind of. Like, I don't know.
I mean, how can you help it, man? They look so great on a shelf.
True. It does. I even went to a bookstore recently, and they were there. Like, you could have gotten all of them, but again, like, yeah, they are on the pricier side. So like, yeah, you got to make sure you got space for them.
They do go on sale pretty often. Like, I've seen them because I keep them like on a wish list, and then like certain like manga sale websites would be like, oh, you could get like volume 2 half off. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, nice. So like, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say more on this other than like, it's Berserk. It's number one for a reason. This Vinland Saga and, fingers crossed, Dinosaur Sanctuary and Dragon Ball, I would say, yeah. I think these four, are going to be permanently on my Like top 10, I don't see them moving. Again, Dinosaur Sanctuary, early days, but I have confidence that like it's gonna keep going well, and if it like does, it's definitely gonna stay there. But like these four, I'm confident in that like, oh, these are going to stay. Like everything else might shift around, get move out, move back in, but these four are gonna like pretty much have their like foundations built into my top 10 pretty much. Now switching gears completely to, to a manga that I think is digital only, but it's not a manhwa. It is a manga, but it's digital and it's like fully colored. It's not black and white. Is Real Life?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. I didn't know it was
It
fully
is fully
colored.
colored. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So I think because it is like digital first manga called Real Life. So it is a rom com anime. So the story this had similar kind of themes to Mob Psycho. So I think even maybe Yushihine will like this. Uh, for there's this guy. He's down on his luck. I think he just got fired from his job, or he's working a dead end job that he hates, and he like really wishes that like he could have made like started life again and made different decisions because he really hates where he is right now in life and he hates his personality and stuff like that. But apparently the government has a program called a Real Life program where they find Japanese citizens who are not doing so well and really not, contributing to the economy and kind of being a burden on the system and giving them a second chance. They're like, hey, they will make them young again and do some government like information chicanery and make them go through high school again so they could relive, relearn, and make different choices. And then once they go through that, they have these like memory manipulating devices so that all the high school students they interact with don't remember them. And like like all the records, obviously, like all the photos, everything will be like normal, so like they never existed. It just like they essentially get a second chance at life. Obviously you gotta a little bit suspension of disbelief, but like it was
Right. I mean, that's a wild
yeah, it is
concept.
a wild concept. But I mean, like the manga presents it in a nice, fun way, and you're on board with it. You get what the manga's trying to do, and uh, and so it's about this guy who's going through that, and he like relearns, like, oh my god, this is how like you be a human again, and he like relearns how to appreciate life, be a better person. If any of you really feel connected to Sarizara's story from my Mob Psycho, this is, I would say, like essentially that, but like longer and like with a more of a romantic tinge, because both romantic interests in this are going through the program without the other one realizing it. And so like they're trying to learn and trying to be better people slowly. It has one of the best like character developments I've seen, and I got so invested in this relationship to the point where at the end there's a little bit of danger that they're both gonna forget each other after this whole real life program is done and they've graduated high school. And I was so invested to the point where I'm like, no, no, please, please, please let them stay together. Come on, please, please. I'm not gonna spoil what happens, but like, yeah, it's one of those things where I was like, oh my god, like like just so invested and wanted to make sure like, oh my god, these people deserve each other and I hope they're happy. And when a romantic comedy can do that, like you've hit gold. That like you're that invested in it. It's also great characters, great comedy, like really really funny. The artwork is fantastic. I love it when it goes chibi mode and like does these cute little jokes. Uh so so good, and it has I think great messages of like, hey, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to, be a better person and experience new things. Obviously, this one is slightly different. I think Mob Psycho hits it better, where because like Sarisawa in Mob Psycho does it as an adult and stays as an adult and goes back to schooling, so it hits more realistically. But this one is just, I think, still hits on the same themes, but just goes in a more fantastical way. Where like, okay, if you could restart life, sort of, how would you go about it and how would you improve? So yeah, like it is really really good. I really love it. I do want to reread this because I read this in high school, and I'm pretty sure if I reread it, I would get so much more out of it. Since like man, life is not easy. So I think this comp set would now hit me harder since I've experienced life a bit more and I realize like how difficult it can be sometimes. So like yeah, it's an awesome manga. If you're looking for a rom com with like a deeper theme, this is I would highly recommend this. This I'm also confident in. It won't stay, but I can't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a stronger rom com will come down the line. This can replace that, or maybe I don't know. Maybe another action scene, well, actually, action manga will come along to replace this. But like as of right now, I'm pretty confident. Like as I had like a really high amount of emotional investment in this manga. So yeah, I do. Like if you're looking for a rom com, this is like you can't go wrong with real life. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, definite surprise among the list, but
Yeah, Shane was not expecting to see that.
Yeah, that was See, in both of your lists, there's like one or two where I'm like, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, you and another friend we had in university were also like pretty into this series, so I might get into it since now I've kind of opened my heart a bit towards rom-coms. I kind of swore them off for a bit, but
yeah. So
kind of mellowed out.
I started with the anime for this, then I switched to the manga because I'm just like I need to know what happens. Like what because like it's one of those animes that like has one season and it's clearly like an advertisement for like okay, you want the rest of the story, go buy the manga. I don't think it's available digitally officially. I'll have to check, but I do think the manga is available physically. Let me just see. But like yeah, like again, if you're looking for a rom com, you can go. Oh, it's actually I have it in my search history. Where to buy real life? Oh, this is 8 years ago. Okay, yeah, I know that Crunchyroll manga app is dead. So,
oh no.
So yeah, I don't know if it's even available. Like, oh, it's available in French because of course it is. So yeah, I don't even know if it is. Oh, it's available in German as well. Man, the English manga market really needs to like step up its game, man. So yeah, I think only scanlations can like for English can like get you this, but like yeah, awesome series. I love it so much. Please check it out. And with that, I think that's my top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys could compare our tastes. You know, if you want to know my taste in my top 10 manga, you could go back on the previous episode and see my manga top 10. Say who has the best taste or not, or just tell us about your favorites in the comments down below if you're listening to this in a
what picks were
streaming
you
app that provides comments.
by? Or did you predict everything that we would have on the list? Yeah.
You know, are we based or do we have trash taste?
Yeah. How many of you expected real life to be on it? Let me know. Or maybe you were always knew. It's like, oh yeah, this guy would like real life.
This guy seems like a real life person, but
seems like a real life person. Yeah.
But anyways, Falcon Punchers, as always, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Give us 5 stars if that's a option on where you're listening this podcast on. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Peace.